Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our citizen engagement meeting for Net Zero Housing. I see that Mr. Barnhart, who is the, get my notes in front of me. Mr. Barnhart, who is the chair of our, my words are not coming to me. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. Looking for my quote, forgive me. Mr. Barnhart, who heads our Civic Association, is on the line, who is also impacted on that street. Madam Mayor, I'll have to scan through and see who's on the line. We acknowledge everyone that's here. Thank you so much for coming. I'm just going to go over some logistics with the meeting. Mr. Ray is going to be hosting. Stephanie, thank you so much. She's going to be co-hosting with the presentation. Madam Mayor is going to open us up. Mr. Gray is going to control for the sake of external distortion. I'd ask that you put your mics on mute during the presentation. And at the end of the presentation, we'll allow Mayor Martin to bring you back in for question and answers. Mayor Martin.
All right, yes. Good evening, everyone, and thanks so very much for joining us this evening. This is a community-oriented effort that we can bring the community together and talk about all of the items that we've known for some time would happen is beginning to come into reality, and we're happy that you all joined us this evening. We're talking about the Net Zero Homes on 60th Place, and there'll be quite a bit of information to share. There'll be presentations, and at the end of that time, you'll have a question and answer session. So please bear with us as we move right along, and thank you all very much for your time. Council member
Stephanie.
All right. So thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to meet with you. I wish it was in person, but really appreciate the opportunity to meet with you virtually. My name is Stephanie Prestel, and I'm the Deputy Director with a nonprofit housing development organization here in Prince George's County called Housing Initiative Partnership. And before I'm going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation because I think that'll be helpful. Visuals always are helpful for me. But I just wanted to quickly acknowledge that some members of our team are also on this call. Our general contractor for this project is Warren Builds, and Shane Warren is with us. He's the CEO of Warren Builds. And Kieran Veal is a project manager who will be the project manager for this project, is also on the line. And then our architect, Matt Fine, is a principal with Peabody and Fine Architects, and we've been working with them for years now. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully, there we go. All right. So again, we're going to talk about the zero energy ready homes that on 60th Place. And I just wanted to start to tell you a little bit about who we are as a nonprofit housing developer in Prince George's County. We're a nonprofit.
How do I get the audio, or they'll let me return to meeting.
Oh, cursor.
Did it cut? Are you able to get the volume?
Take that off.
So you can make it as loud as you want. Yeah.
How can I tell if you're talking?
Can you hear me at this point, Ms. Palmer?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad you got your audio. I had that problem this morning. So I was just saying we're a nonprofit housing developer and counseling agency. We're based here in Prince George's County. We're over 30 years old. And our mission is all about creating economic and housing security. And we do that by developing high quality, affordable homes and apartments, as well as we're a HUD-approved counseling agency. So we provide a lot of counseling services. And like I said, we do both. We do single family homes like we're going to talk about today. We also do apartments, and we're a HUD-approved counseling agency. And I'm going to show you some of the pictures of homes that we've done. This is one of the homes that we'll talk a little bit more about that we previously did on Addison Road here in Fairmont Heights. This is a home that we renovated in Capitol Heights, just down the road on Field Street. This is a home on Key Turn Street in District Heights that we renovated. These are all homes that we substantially renovate, and we sell to first-time home buyers earning 80% or less of area median income. This was a burnt-out home that we worked on in Seat Pleasant. This is a duplex, so we were able to do both sides of the duplex. And just this last fall, we completed 9 new construction homes. They were also net zero ready homes, so designed and built and certified to that standard. These are on Palmer Park Road, right in the heart of the Palmer Park neighborhood. On the apartment side, we work with partners and build and renovate affordable apartments. So we have Newton Green Senior Housing, which is in your bottom left, that's in Bladensburg. And on the top right is a apartment community that we built in Hyattsville. And the bottom right is a apartment community that we renovated. So we do a variety of different kinds of multifamily housing. And then, as I said, we're a HUD certified counseling agency. We regularly have homebuyer education classes. We do provide homebuyer foreclosure counseling, rental counseling, and financial capability coaching. We're also a partner with the Department of Social Services and help them with their rapid rehousing program, where we help move families in the homeless shelter into permanent housing. So I partly want to let you know about our housing counseling side, because I do, whether you're already a homeowner in the community or not, we like people to know that our services are available in the county. Our staff is also bilingual, so if you have community members that are more comfortable in Spanish, we would welcome the opportunity to work with you. So about the net zero ready homes. So as many of you probably know, the town of Fairmont Heights and the Redevelopment Authority of Prince George's County worked together to look at some different pieces of land in Fairmont Heights and one lot in Capitol Heights. On 60th Place, where the municipal shed is, between 715 and 725 60th Place, is a stretch of land that is zoned for single family homes that currently does not have that development on the site. And then around the corner on Joss Street, there's a dilapidated structure that is also zoned for single family home. And then in Capitol Heights, there's a lot that the Redevelopment Authority had and wanted to place a home on it. So a RFP was put together between the town and the Redevelopment Authority of Prince George's County. So that's a request for proposals. And they asked for developers to make proposals about net zero ready homes that could be built on these lots. So my organization, HIP, applied, put forward a proposal, and we were ultimately selected as the developer of these programs, or of these lots. So there are a total of 8 lots. 7 of them are in the town boundary of Fairmont Heights. So that's where it gets a little confusing. So there are actually a total of 8 lots. 7 of them are in the town of Fairmont Heights. What we are looking to do is to break the project up into 2 phases. And the first phase would be to complete the first 6 homes on 60th Place. So most of what I'm going to talk about is about the first phase, but if there are questions about other phase, by all means, feel free to ask, and I'm happy to try to answer your questions. So just for a frame of reference, this is the 60th Place lot. As I mentioned, it already has the municipal shed on that site. I talked a little bit about who our development team is. HIP will act as the developer, again, Housing Initiative Partnership, HIP for short. Peabody and Fine Architects are the architects that we've been working with. They are the architects that also completed the house on Addison Road that you saw earlier, and I'll talk a little bit more about. We ultimately went through a competitive process to select a general contractor, and we selected Warren Builds. We're really excited about this partnership. Warren Builds is a local Prince George's minority contractor with a lot of experience, and we're really pleased to have them as a partner in this project. Our civil engineers, Applied Civil Engineering, also local Prince George's County business that we've worked with before on our previous net zero ready homes in Palmer Park. And then we also have energy consultant firm that we work with called Pando Alliance, and they're a woman-owned consulting firm that we've worked with for many years. So this is hard to read. What I need to work on a better visual. What I'm trying to show you here is the site plan for the 60th Place lot to show you how the 6 homes lay out on the site. And how the walkways and the driveways and how they relate to each other along the on the street. I have some other. The homes themselves will look very similar to the homes that the home that was built on Addison Road. We're playing around with the details on the porch columns and the details of the colors for the various siding for the homes to really make sure that it meets with your architectural standards that have been developed, and also to make sure that it blends with the community. They're new homes, but you're also an older community that has some really lovely architecture. So we want to be complementary to that. Here's a streetscape to give you an idea of what the homes might look like along the street. This is just a rendering. So just to back up a little bit, so the town of Fairmont Heights has been really proactive about thinking about green and how it can be innovative with energy efficiency in the community. And so one of the things that was very important when the town put forward this RFP was building homes to a very high energy efficient standard. And so these are designed and will be built to what's called Zero Energy Ready. And this is a certification that the US Department of Energy has put out. And these are homes that are designed to be ultra efficient and with the goal of being net zero at some point, meaning that if the homeowner chooses to put the solar panels on, they'll be net zero. If they choose not to put solar panels on the home, they're still highly efficient. So it gives the homeowner some options with how they prefer to do solar or not solar. And so why Zero Energy Ready? It has a lot of benefits. The energy efficiency of the homes will really help with the lower utility bills. So, part of owning a home is not only paying your mortgage, but it's also maintaining it and paying utility bills. So that's an exciting piece about it, is that it will really make your home more affordable from the utility standpoint. And I should have mentioned on that last slide, with the Zero Energy Ready homes, it comes with multiple kinds of certifications. It'll have an Energy Star certification. It'll have a Water Sense certification, meaning that it's efficient with water. It has an Indoor Air Plus certification, so that the indoor air quality is also very good. So comfort is another important factor. It's designed so that it's a very comfortable home. It doesn't have drafts. It really helps maintain the temperature in the home. I mentioned the indoor air quality. A couple of pieces with that. We use some mechanical ventilation to really make sure that the proper fresh air is coming in and out of the home, but also it has to do with the materials in the home, so materials aren't off-gassing, so that the air itself is healthy in the home. And it's overall important for the environment because it has a smaller carbon footprint. So we're really excited about this standard with our new construction homes. So it's modeled on what we were able to do with the home at 5424 Addison Road. So it's a similar design and a similar look. We have a general contractor, but we also will be using a modular builder. So much of the structure of the home will be built in a factory. It's called Berica up in Delaware. It's the same company we used when we worked on this home. And so ultimately when the site is ready and the homes come, they will come in pieces and with cranes. And it's really quite a scene when the homes come and are set. But this is a picture of when 5424 Addison Road was set with the modular home components. And then this is the home once it was completed. So you can see what it looks like there from the outside. And then on the inside, I just wanted to give you a sense, if you were not able to come to the ribbon cutting, what the inside of the home looks like. So we really choose nice, whoops, I apologize. We use really nice finishes, and the home, the nature of the home is designed so it has a lot of wonderful natural light and a lot of great open spaces. So timeline. So we were selected to be the developer for these homes, and we're going to focus on the phase 1, which are these 6 contiguous homes on 60th Place. We have finalized the drawings, and the modular builder is reviewing them. Once the modular builder reviews them, we'll start the permitting process, and we're finalizing the pricing. And then this summer, we hope to start the demolition of the municipal building and the Joss Street property. And then we will start the construction. And construction means, in the beginning, it's the site work. So preparing the site, putting in the utilities, putting the foundations in, and then the modular homes will come in and they'll get set, like the photographs I was showing you with the cranes. And then the contractors stay on because there's finishing that needs to be done. So there's still some finishing inside the homes with connections. They'll be putting the siding on the outside of the homes. They'll be building the front porches on each of the homes. So there is still some work to be done, even though a lot of the construction and finishes of the homes are done in the modular factory. Once we start construction, know that we can start construction, we'll start marketing the homes to the community for sale. Just to give you a sense of the type of financing that we have pulled together at this point, we have a number of resources from a variety of different sources. The Redevelopment Authority has provided some financing for this project, as well as the county through their community development block grant funds. The state of Maryland has also been very supportive of the project, and they have awarded us some what they call NED funds, which is the National Capital Economic Development Fund. And then we also have some funds from Community Legacy and the Maryland Operating Grant Fund. In the end, we'll also, because there will be certified Energy Star, there'll be a little bit of a rebate, and those resources will go towards the development of the homes. We will also have a construction loan, and we're working with some of our partners now to get that established. So who would be eligible to purchase the homes? So HIP is all about first-time home ownership, and we serve families who earn 80% or less of median income. We utilize the HUD's numbers for what they consider to be 80% or less of area median income. It changes a little bit each year in the spring. Currently, the idea is to give you an example of what 80% of area median income is right now for our area. If you were a one-person household, you would need to earn $70,600 or less to be eligible to purchase one of the homes. A two-person household has a slightly higher income, three-person slightly higher income, and a four-person slightly higher income. So it is based on family size. We do require that our homeowners complete a HUD certified homeownership counseling class. HIP is a HUD certified counseling program. We do offer regular homebuyer education classes. We would encourage people to take our class, but if you have a certificate from another HUD certified counseling program, we would accept that as well. What we do with anyone, whether they've taken our class or a different HUD certified class, is once you're under contract and before you go to settlement, we still have a one-on-one appointment with the home buyer, with our counselor and the home buyer, just to walk through settlement papers and make sure that everything is clear on the costs and the mortgage and things like that, so that it's all clear. It's a lot of paper and numbers flying in the home buying process. I just want to back up just a minute. The way we like to do our homes for sale is that we will do a market study to determine what is the market value of the homes. So we will set the price at whatever the market is, and then we determine what is affordable to someone earning 80% or less of area median income right now, and based on interest rates. So we look at what's affordable, and we'll say, the homeowner is responsible for financing this amount of a mortgage, and the difference between what the market rate is and what's affordable to someone to 80% or less of area median income, we provide a second deed of trust that goes away over 15 years. There's no monthly payment, it's 0% interest. The idea is to really make homeownership affordable, and also an opportunity for someone to build equity more quickly over time. So we really, it's been a very successful model for us. We work closely with Prince George's County Housing Department to structure that. So we want to make sure that we're not inadvertently lowering market values if the sales price is affordable to someone at 80% or less of area median income, but still providing an affordable opportunity for purchase. So we're real careful about that. We really like to market to the existing community because there are lots of folks who may want to come back to a community that they haven't been able to be in a while. The homes that we just completed in Palmer Park, it was exciting. A couple of our home buyers had grown up in the area, had moved away, and hadn't had an opportunity to come back. And so they were able to come back to the community, and that was really gratifying. I'm going to just leave my contact information here as we move into the question and answer session. If we're not able to answer your questions tonight, I would like to take note of them and work with you to make sure I get you the right answer. If after this meeting you have questions or concerns that you think of later and would like to contact me, please do. This is my email address and that's my direct phone number. So with that, Mayor, I don't know how you want to handle questions or conversation.
Madam Mayor, if I may, you can lead in with the questions, but I would like to share with everyone that we can't all jump in at the same time. So there is an option to raise your hand in the participation portion, lower part of your screen. If you can't, if you try to say something or you'd like to say something and someone else is speaking, you can raise your hand. Mr. Gray will capture that as the host and let the mayor know whose hand is raised and who's waiting to speak. Madam Mayor?
Yes. If there are questions now, you can begin the question. If you would please raise your hands. Let me know. We can start the question and answer session.
I think Mr. Barnhart may have his hand raised.
All right, Mr. Barnhart, would you proceed?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Martez Barnhart, President, Civic Association here in Fairmont Heights. Nice to meet you this evening. I was wondering a couple of things. I have a whole list here, but I'm not going to take up a lot of time. But as though the opportunity presents itself, I might as well do it. The first thing I would like to ask is, with the project being built on 60th Place, with the 6 homes, was the historical preservation took into consideration as far as building these homes on the historical land site? That's my first question. And these questions are coming from citizens that have brought questions and concerns to the Civic Association. So they might be random questions, you know, that I'll be answering, that I'll be asking. Sorry about that.
Not at all. Doris, I don't know if you want to start with that, since the town, I think, did a lot of work looking into that.
Yes. Is Ms. Sarumi still available on the line? Because I think it would be a great time for her to answer that particular question, Stephanie.
I'm trying to unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for participating. Prior to even starting to work on the project or plan the project, one thing we did was to look at the impact or what effect, or if there was any historic issues that we may have to be faced with. And this question has come up a lot. Mr. Barnhart and others, if the town of Fairmont Heights, I think it was in 2011, became a historic district. The historic district was based on a couple of things. One was based on architecture, and other was based on the historic culture of the town. Now, as far as the architecture in terms of regulations, please note that when there is vacant land and there is no improvements on the land, then you can develop it. Now, we've had several hearings prior to this hearing, and one of the things that citizens asked was to make certain that the historic significance of that site is protected. And if you notice, Mr. Barnhart, there is a historic, and by the way, Mr. Barnhart lives next to the property, there is a historic marker right there at the site. Now, I've been talking to Stephanie and Warren Brothers and others as to how we can include in the site maybe a little area, and I would like to leave the steps because you have the steps there, which was probably once the steps that went into the Fairmont Heights. It was the original Fairmont Heights Town Hall, but it was torn down and demolished. So what we did then was the next best thing. We went out, we applied to Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development through the Legacy Program. We were awarded, I think, I forgot the exact amount, but I think about $150,000 or whatever the amount was. And so they awarded us a funding to put up the historic marker there. So in my conversation with Stephanie, Hip, and Warren Brothers is that I would like to see the steps left there, but the steps cannot, but the marker will be left on the site. So once it's a historic site, it will always be a historic site.
Okay.
So does that answer the question? Yeah, and the answer to your question is yes. Did we do the research and consider it? Yes. We went to we researched it through the state. We researched it through the African American Historic Preservation Commission and Maryland National Capital Park and Planning. So yes, we did that.
Okay. So with that being said, and the information that you just provided, we have went over that a few times, and we, as a civic association, has also looked into historical preservation, African American historical preservation, and we also realized that site, even though that is the marker there, the contractor is saying that they're going to salvage the historical marker in the plat, and they're going to move the marker to the center of the project. Now, the citizens here in Fairmont Heights that has a very passionate interest about African American historical preservation. They feel like that marker and that site, it should be something a little bit more looked into about what can be done to save that site. Taking the marker and moving the marker to the center of the project where these houses are going to be built, that doesn't make that land, that whole stretch of land, historic anymore. I mean, the site is where the steps is, and that's the reason why the steps are still left there. So that was one question. That was an issue that we had, as far as, building these homes on this site. I don't know if you guys from HIP, look into this kind of thing before you guys start building, but this has been happening all over the United States, in Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit. You're having a lot of nonprofit companies coming into African American communities and building these homes, and that taking into consideration about African American historical preservation. I just wanted to know, was that something that you guys were concerned about, or this was something that was brought to your attention to the point where as though that you guys took it into consideration for African Americans?
So no, it's very important. And the markers that the town was able to develop and install are great. And so we're working very hard right now to try to keep the markers on the lot where they currently are. So we're looking at what our options are to have that be respectful of the location where the municipal building used to be and the history of it. So you have that lovely placard that was done. You have a couple markers there. And so we're working to figure out the best way to maintain them in the general location where they are. So in that lot area and still be present and fit with the new home that would be there as well. So that is something we're working on right now to make sure that it does fully be presented in the similar fashion to it is today. It will, I will be honest, it would be very difficult for us to leave the steps because I don't think that we can maintain the steps and have proper access to the home. So that the steps are more challenging.
Okay. So I know it might be a crazy question to ask, but I'm gonna ask it because I work for the people. So when the people ask me to ask certain questions or they want me to go ahead and voice their opinions for them, I speak for the people. So yes. Is it any way possible on that historical land site would HIP be interested in doing some type of memorial, being as though that is an African American historical land site? I mean, I know you guys would like to build 6 homes, but would you guys be interested or entertaining the fact of, downsizing to 5 homes instead of 6 homes?
So when the project was presented to us and in terms of the RFP, the town presented to us 6 homes. I think it would be difficult to reduce it to 5 homes from a financial perspective. But I think that's ultimately a decision the town would need to make and direct, and very quickly, because we are in the process of, we've done the civil engineering work on the site and doing the lots, the legal work that needs to be done to take what currently has 3 addresses to break it up into 6 addresses to allow for the 6 homes. The right size of land is there. You just had to legally record it. So we've done a lot of work to get it to the point of 6 homes. So I think that would be a conversation that you would ultimately need to have with the town quickly to guide us.
Okay. So the other thing, and thank you for answering that for me, and thank you for just not shooting it down. Your answer to that was very respectful, and I thank you for doing that. Because most companies that's dealing with large development and money, they just feel like they could just come in and just throw up houses because they have money and they have the resources to do it. So thank you for answering that question like that. I appreciate that. Sure. My next question would be, is the demo of the site and how would it affect the homes surrounding it? If you're not aware of it, a lot of the homes here in Fairmont Heights are built in the 1800s and the early 1900s. So with the demo that will be put in place with such as like the jackhammering and the, bringing in your bulldozers and, your heavy equipment, how would that affect the homes that's surrounding the project? And what would be a liability to HIP for any damage to any of the homes that's surrounding that has, the age, of homes. We have a home right across the street from that project that was built in 1909. So, just like when the earthquake had hit in the mid 2000s, it left a lot of homes damaged because of the kind of quick it was, Right. So that's one question I have about, the demo of the project and how does it affect the homes that surrounding that project with the building.
So I will also let Warren Builds also comment. I'll just start by saying that the good thing is that the municipal shed is in the middle of the site. So, and it is not a particularly large structure. So in the scheme of demolition, I don't think you're going to find that it's, you know, it's not going to be wrecking balls coming in. It's not a large, you know, many-story building that's coming down. The other piece that's going to be coming up is the asphalt driveway that's scattered throughout that site. That would be coming up. And then ultimately it's going to be grading. So you'll have utility companies coming in to connect the lots to the water and sewer in the street. You'll have small machinery that's on site that's leveling the site and getting the site ready for foundations, and then the foundations will come in. So I would say in the scheme of things, there shouldn't be significant disruption to the neighbors, and not a significant, I don't know, earth shaking or those kinds of activities that would impact surrounding homes. We have Shane Warren with us, who's the CEO of Warren Builds, our general contractor. Shane, I don't know if you would like to add to that.
Yeah, I can add to that. I mean, I think just to kind of echo what Stephanie is saying, the amount of demolition, it's a one-story building. It is centered on the property. There's not going to be a lot of kind of dynamic vibration going on. And I mean, going into it, we can definitely, I think your concern is definitely valid. Let me start off with saying that with like any type of demolition and the surrounding areas. And there could be a, you know, a level of engineering that we would do to kind of just make sure that there's nothing like that can potentially happen. Sometimes when we do larger, deep dynamic compaction or deep foundations, we do studies or vibration testing to make sure that adjacent buildings aren't affected. But that's usually warranted for, like, you know, deep foundations or deep vibrations that will happen, because that's when you really get into issues in a neighboring property. But this is all happening on the surface and being one story. You know, we don't anticipate there being anything, but we'll definitely kind of dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure that all those bases are covered.
Okay, and being as though that we have him on the line, and he's the contractor, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing along with the demoing was the water problem. We have a major water problem here in Fairmont Heights where we have underground streams. We had the company Prime that came out and did a survey of the community. What would be your input on building these homes on this type of you know, land structure that has these underground you know, water problems as far as streams running through the thing?
Yeah, you know, again,
and how would your building affect that underground water stream, you know, that's been going on for years, and how would that affect other people's property as well?
Yeah. And again, that's a good question. We actually, Matt Fines, who's on the call today, him and I had a call earlier today talking about that kind of in the same vein as that, in regards to kind of managing stormwater management tactics and how we're going to approach that. And one of the things that we both discussed and talked about is we're going to make sure that we have a geotechnical engineer involved while we're working on foundations to do some type of investigation of the site to make sure that we're, because if we run across any type of underground water like that, I mean, not only do we need to worry about everyone else's property, we also need to worry about these houses, because they're going to be part of the community as well. So we need to make sure that we take that into account and make sure that we don't disturb any underground streams. I mean, it kind of goes with the same philosophy of surface water. Like, you don't want to disturb the surface drainage to cause problems on neighbors. We don't want to disturb the underground drainage to cause problems to neighbors. So we'll be looking at that while we're working. If we come across water, we're going to do our investigation. We're going to make sure that we do our due diligence on it.
Okay.
Mr. Barnhart. Mr. Barnhart.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you hear me? I don't mean to butt in, excuse me. We have a question
Okay.
in the chat that's relative to the markers.
Mm-hmm.
So because you're in a different area, I wanted to go kind of bounce back to that to get that question answered, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know who's asking the question, but let me see. It's saying per Mr. Rumi's indication that Fairmont Heights was awarded a grant in the amount of $150,000. I'm sorry, yeah, $150,000 to put a marker on the site. What was the actual cost for the material and labor for the marker, labor and installation costs on that site?
That I would have to get back to you with an answer, a correct answer. And let me correct that. For the historic markers in the African American Historic Trail, if you go to our website, you'll see that trail. And there were, I think we had 19 to 20 markers that this grant funded. So the actual, and yes, I do have the actual costs per site that's available. And I think I need to go back and look at the site. I think we also did an exhibit box. The exhibit box would show the actual and a narrative and the actual information about the Fairmont Heights municipal building that was built during that period. But you can call me. Let me give you my number, Doris Sarumi. And because basically we're closed, I can be reached on my cell phone number at 443-404-8849. Or you can send me an email, town manager, the word town manager, at FairmontHeightsMD.gov. And thank you for that question.
Okay, Mr. Barnhart, you can go ahead. I'm trying to capture the comments in the chat section as they come in.
Okay, I'm pretty much done. I thank you all for allowing us to be able to have this meeting. I know the meeting's only from 7:30 to 9, so I'm gonna be respectful and courteous to let everyone else, bring their concerns into the meeting. But I just want to say this before we do, before I get off, that Miss Stephanie did entertain the fact that the historical land site where the markers at could be talked about. I would appreciate if the mayor and council will go ahead and take that into consideration, knowing that this is an African-American historic community. And if we can save any of our historical land sites, and if it's in reason, I think that we should fight for that. I think there should be a conversation. It should be something done about it. This community is based on its historical preservation. This is the first community where the second incorporated community where African Americans was able to own their homes. So if we can save any of that history, I think it would be wise, and I think it would be great for us to go ahead and do that. And that's all I would have to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Ms. Gladden, thank you. I see that another message came in. It was Ms. Gladden, Ms. Sarumi that asked that question, Ms. Kim Gladden.
Okay.
There was another question that was asked about off-street parking.
So each of the homes will have a driveway that allows for 2 cars. So Prince George's County requires when you build a new home that you have off-street parking for 2 cars. So each home will have a driveway long enough for 2 cars to park on the street. There is still, even with the driveways added, there will still be some street parking available in between driveways on the street. So most homeowners have 2 or less cars, and so typically the driveways provide adequate parking for a day-to-day basis. Now, a homeowner may have a celebration or family over, and that may have some more cars on a temporary parking basis. But we all have that experience in our communities where we have those occasional events. But on a day-to-day basis, we do believe there will be enough off-street parking.
Thank you. Any other questions?
There was a question by Ms. Sylvia.
I didn't see that one. Ms. Syfax, you can unmute your mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Yes, I have several questions. I'm calling in my capacity as the Blight Elimination Chair of the Civic Association.
Great. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I have several questions. But to start, the house on Addison Road that you all built,
Mm-hmm.
the people are doing a terrible job of maintaining the exterior
Mm-hmm.
and the yard, and multiplying that by 8 is just not a good thought.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, just how that can be, how something can be done about just making sure that these new homeowners know that they need to be able to afford to maintain the exterior of the home.
Mm-hmm.
This whole project was not done with a competitive process. There was no notice. I live on 60th Place.
Mm-hmm.
There was no notice. Now, this is unlike when Mosey Harrington was the executive director of HIP.
Mm-hmm.
When I know for a fact that when HIP was involved over in Suitland, and all of those all that housing was demolished.
Right.
HIP was very involved at the beginning with those residents. I had some of them work for me and making sure that they understood what was going on. This just has not been the case with this project. And I'm not going to, tie up a lot of time. The thing is that there's a lot of need for development in the town. And I'm just wondering if HIP will work with the Civic Association in making sure from this day on that other than 2 or 3 people in the town hall are making these decisions. I don't expect you to answer that right now, but the Civic Association needs some very heavy technical assistance from HIP.
Mm-hmm.
And the other, and I hope that Mr. Barnhart and I can get in touch with you and discuss that further.
I would welcome that opportunity, and please, again, let me give you, if you weren't able to.
Oh, I got you. I have
Were you able to get?
Yeah,
Please please email me or call me. I would love to continue the conversation. So, HIP feels very passionately about the work we do in any community that we work in. We care deeply that we are working with the community because it's your community, it's not our community. And it's important to us that you feel pride in the work that we ultimately are able to accomplish. But it's not worth doing if we are going against what the goal of the community is. That's not what we're about. And we still are very much in the vein of Mosey Harrington, who I had the great pleasure of working with. So, I sincerely apologize if we have not connected in a way that feels meaningful. We would love to have that conversation and find ways that we can work together. HIP does work very hard to provide good education about the home buying process and also what's required after home buying. Sometimes, not everyone is as good with the exterior work as others are. In other communities and other houses, homeowners have done well with the exterior landscaping and things like that. Some haven't done as well. We do our best to provide education to help people have a sense of what's involved and what their responsibilities are.
Okay, one more question. Will these people, may I please ask another question? I guess about 4 years ago, when I went to a meeting where this project was discussed, I don't know whether that was before or after the RFP or HIP's involvement, but at that point, it was said that each of these units, these houses would cost about $450,000 to construct. And at that time, that was back in 2016, it was projected that the houses would sell for like $300,000. Now, I'm just wondering if the people that buy the houses, will they just be able to immediately sell them and are there any restrictions on the ownership other than the second mortgage that you mentioned?
So the second mortgage is the piece that we have on it. So there's nothing that would preclude someone from selling their home. How much equity they get from their home is determined by how long they've been in the home. So the longer they're in the home, the more equity they build in staying in the home. But they could sell the home immediately.
Oh, okay, well, I just know there are like Eden Place on Eastern Avenue on the DC side. Those owners have some restrictions on, being able to sell. I don't know whether that's because it's,
Probably because there's some federal funds in it. So when you have federal funds that help keep the costs affordable. So, the thing about new construction is it's expensive. So, those numbers that you're quoting are very accurate. It's very expensive to build new construction, but we still want those homes to be affordable. So we do sell them for less than what it costs us to build them. And those resources I was showing you on the slides are various grant resources that help make up the difference between what we're able to sell the home for and what it actually costs us to build it. So what we're able to do is provide a high quality home. It'll be sold on paper at what the market rate is so that it's, we're not deflating the market, but the homeowner ultimately gets an affordable price. Now, what happens sometimes, there are different ways to structure those second deeds of trust. So sometimes the second deed of trust is structured that if you sell it within 15 years, you must sell it to another household who earns 80% or less of area median income.
Exactly.
This one is set up and they don't have to pay back any of the that second deed of trust. This one is the other way you can structure it, where the second deed of trust is repaid, but ultimately starting in year 10, the deed of trust reduces each year so that it ultimately goes down to zero at the end of 15 years. So it's just there are just two different ways you can structure those second deeds of trust.
Okay, but now how are the buyers selected, and like how do you select the real estate agent that is going to make the real estate broker that's going to make the sale?
So we have traditionally worked since Suitland Manor with the same realtor, Cerrito Realty. He's very familiar with our program and very good at shepherding first-time home buyers and their agents through the process and helping them understand that second deed of trust can sometimes be confusing. And so really good at working with the buyer's agent as well to make sure that everything is clear on the transaction. So everything is very transparent. So we've typically worked with him. How are buyers selected? We actually I'll give you Palmer Park Meadows as our most recent example. So once we knew the homes were going to be available and we put information out there, people expressed interest with us. And once we had the firm, and so we kept a running list of that. And as soon as we knew kind of exactly what the price and how it was all going to be structured was, we shared that information with everyone at the same time. We encouraged people to get their home buyer education ahead of time so they were ready to go and get pre-qualified for a mortgage, so that when all of the information came out, they could come visit the home, and if they so chose, they could put a contract on the house. We ultimately took contracts, first come, first serve. But when the contracts came in, they were complete contracts. They had been pre-qualified by a lender. They had completed home buyer education. So those were requirements of the contract. So even though we had a very long list of people who are interested, we accepted contracts as they came in.
Okay,
We
so,
don't play a bidding war. So we'll say, this is the price. We're not doing a bidding war. We're not doing it, we're trying to make this just a clear, straight transaction.
last question. Oh God, now I had a real senior moment. I will have to I'll have to get back to that when I yield.
Okay.
Oh,
thank
no,
you,
I know what
Seinfeld.
it was.
Wait, Ms.
So-
Seinfeld,
so
if
I know
may.
what the question is. I
I'm
know
gonna
what
let
the
you have
question
it.
is.
She got it.
Can I ask the question?
Yeah.
So from what you presented, whoever the buyer is, their income is at least $70,000 a year and not less for one person.
It can be 70,000 or less for a
Or
one
less.
person household.
Or
The 70
less.
is the maximum, but they still have to be able to qualify for a mortgage, right? So
Well-
there's going to be a range, but they have to be able to qualify for the mortgage, and so they have to be financially able to afford the mortgage.
So I thought you said at least, but it's not at least.
That's the maximum income. They have to earn that or less. That's the maximum income.
Okay, and if they make now, is the price of the house fixed, or
Yes.
is it adjusted according to how much less than 70,000 they make?
No, it'll be a fixed price.
So anybody would have to pay that same price regardless of what their income is.
Right. Yes, they'd have to qualify.
And if they had children or
They have
other
a
members
higher-
of the household, they'd have to make more.
They're allowed to make more. So
I see. Okay.
So they could earn more as a 4-person household than a 1-person household.
Okay. So then what is the tiebreaker when you have offers from a range like that?
Well,
That's like a
thankfully, I didn't
bidding
have to
war.
do tiebreakers on the last one. I mean, it really comes down to complete contracts. And so when the complete contract comes in, if it's a solid contract, we sign it. So it's a first come, first serve. What we do try to do is let people know well in advance what's coming, what the price is going to look like. Get ready if you're interested. So get your home buyer education done. Get pre-qualified for a mortgage. Right now, if you're thinking that you want to buy one of the homes, but you've got a few credit issues to work on, now's the time to do it so that when the time comes, you're ready.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. I look forward to working with you.
We will be in touch with you.
I don't doubt that at all.
I'm like Mosey in that respect.
Well, that's good. I adore Mosey, so I think we're going to get along fabulously.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a few more questions. One question is asking, what other areas besides Palmer Park and Fairmont Heights have you gone into and sold these homes?
Single family homes. So we, most of our work has been renovation. So we'll buy and renovate a home. And we have completed almost 100 homes at this point. A big proportion of our homes have been in Palmer Park. We've been in Suitland, District Heights, Temple Hills, and you know, we had the one home in Fairmont Heights, but I would say, you know, a third of our homes have been in Palmer Park. The county had really wanted us to do a lot of work in Palmer Park, and so that's where we had initially started our HIP Homes program, is what we call it, for buying and renovating homes that we sell to first-time home buyers. So that still probably has the majority of our renovation work, but we've also done work in Capitol Heights and some of these other communities as well. New construction wise, we did a new construction home in Seat Pleasant many years ago. The Palmer Park Meadows we just completed. That was the 9 homes in September, and then these homes. And then we've done a lot of new construction apartment communities in partnership with other developers.
There's another question from Mr. Barnhart, but before we answer that question, I don't want to miss these two. There's a question about if the driving, oh, okay, if there's still going to be two-way parking. Let's see if I got it right. I believe the two-way street is what they're asking. Is the street still going to be two-way?
As far as I know, yeah, as far as I know, it'll be a two-way street. I haven't heard anything to the contrary.
Right. So when it comes to, I wanted to make comment on that. When it comes to the direction of the streets or speed bumps, that's the mayor and council. Parking study, that's the mayor and council. So I've made note of that for further discussion, but I will move further to, because that question cannot be answered just yet. Mr. Barnhart is asking what are the prices?
So I can give you an example. So in Palmer Park, those townhomes that we just completed, the list price was $330,000. That's what the market was. The home buyer needed to provide a mortgage of $265,000, and then we provided the deed of trust, second deed of trust, to make up the difference. I would expect that the market price will be higher with Fairmont Heights because it's a single family detached home. So I would expect it to be higher. And then what we'll need to look at is what interest rates are doing and things like that to make sure that we're setting a price for the purchaser, what mortgage they need to come, that's a reasonable cost. So we're still working through that. But that's an example of what we just did in Palmer Park.
Okay, is it Ray Keisha? Ray Keisha, you can open up your mic.
Hey, Ms. Waiters.
Hi, how are you? Her
Good
question is why only these areas and not Bowie, Gaithersburg, Chevy Chase, Cheverly, Silver Spring, and other areas of that nature?
So a lot of HIP's work is in Inner Beltway communities in Prince George's County. We prefer to do our homeownership work in Prince George's County because it's closer to our office in Hyattsville, particularly with the homeownership work and with when we're renovating and even with new construction, we like to be closer to the project. So we've always worked in Prince George's County. We would love to work in Bowie. We just haven't had an opportunity to do housing development in Bowie. We actually have an excellent relationship. We just partnered with the town of Bowie to administer their rental assistance program. So we have a great relationship with them. We just haven't had a real estate development opportunity.
Those are all the questions that I see in the chat.
Councilmember Waiters.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to add a question concerning the any special provisions for veterans or for homeless individuals.
With home buying in this particular development, we don't have a priority. If that's important to the town, we can certainly talk to you about what that should look like. But at this point, we don't have a particular priority for a certain type of buyer, other than you need to be 80% or less of area median income. You need to have completed your home buyer education, and you need to be able to qualify for a mortgage.
Okay. I should have said this at the beginning, this meeting was recorded, so we've captured the conversation. The chats will be recorded as well. I have noted some of your questions and concern for further discussion. I want to thank Stephanie and her team for coming on. I'm not going to close out. The mayor's going to close out. I just wanted to let you know that we will have further discussion. The meeting was recorded. The presentation will be forwarded to you all to share. And lastly, I did put, although Stephanie put her information in on the presentation, it is in the chat if you did not capture it. Ms. Svumi, if you would like to reiterate your phone number, mention your phone number again for the follow-up question that you had. You're on mute. Ms. Svumi, you're on mute.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I can be reached. My phone number, of course, you can call me at Town Hall, 301-925-8585. However, because we are working remotely, I can be reached at my cell phone number, which is my mobile number, 443-404-8849, and at my email address, townmanager, one word, at FairmontHeightsMD.gov. So you can contact me at any time.
Okay, and Madam Mayor, I'd like to report our participants. We have 31 individuals, including Stephanie's team, participating in our presentation on tonight. And there's one last question. I'll take this one last question. Does HIP have any current applications from prior projects, or will the applicant pool be started from scratch for these homes? And Stephanie, before you answer that question, I'm not going to come back out on. When you answer that question, it will be the mayor that comes back to close us out.
Great. So no, it'll be, we'll start again. So if some of those, many folks have gone on and purchased other homes, and we will start again. So we really like to work with the community to determine how best to get the word out to those members in the community, and where they feel it's best to market the homes before it ever is listed on a multiple listing service. So we will continue to work in partnership with you to have a good plan in place.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stephanie. Is there a possibility that some of your other team members would like to make closing comments, Stephanie?
Shane or Matt, Kieran, does anyone have any last words?
I mean, I can share that. I mean, we're very privileged and grateful to be a part of this project and working with HIP. You know, they have been great to work with so far. This is our first project with them, but we're excited, and we've been working together now for almost a year.
A year.
Yeah, yeah, over a year. So, you know, we're just very excited to participate on this project and bring some gorgeous homes to the community that hopefully everyone will be very proud of, and the homeowners will be very proud of, moreover. So we're excited and very grateful.
I'd just like to chime in on what Shane had to say. You know, as these houses have been hard work. They've been, you know, a lot of years that HIP has put into this, and we've been honored to be able to be part of the team of that, learn more about the community, and you know, help bring vitality to that street. It's been a vacant lot, you know, and you know, having healthy, vibrant homes and families and activity there is, you know, really the goal here. And, you know, we're looking forward to the finish line here coming very shortly. So thank you again.
David, would you like to?
Is this?
Sure, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just like to say we are really excited about this.
He is playing piano.
Piano. That's better than me. No, I just like to say that we're really excited about this project because it's breaking new ground in some areas of energy efficiency and sustainability. And I think it is all about energy democracy. And I think hopefully you'll be hearing more about that from us in the coming months. But it's a very exciting project to us, and glad to be, this is our second one in the community, and we're really excited.
Great, great. Was there anyone else that I missed? All right, well, I would like to say thanks to Stephanie, to you and your team. I want to say thanks to you, and your reputation with HIP precedes everything. We've been working with HIP in our local areas, even though it wasn't directly in Fairmount Heights, for 20 or more years, ever since I first came on in 1990. You know, we had a lot of different mention and saw the projects that have been done. And I think one of the greatest things that happened is when the property at Addison Road was burned down and all the tragedy that was involved with that house and the disposal of it, to see HIP come along and bring it to where it is today is such a wonderful improvement. And it just warms your heart to pass by there every day and not have to look at what was standing there for a period of time. This is what you call the whole community rebuilding effort. So I feel secure with HIP working out whatever issues we have, we're going to talk about them. And people, feel free, if you need to email Stephanie or some other team member and point out what you need, please let her know. But we've had relationships in the past, and I can't say enough about the work that they do as far as home ownership training and helping people who are about to be foreclosed on. They do a lot of great community work. So I want to say thanks to all who have come on the line this evening, and to all of, not only your team, Stephanie, but to all the members of the community who have joined in to listen at the process and how it's going to be a wonderful asset for the town of Fairmount Heights. And with that, I would like to say good night to everyone. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next time. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everybody. Good
Good
night.
night.
Be safe out there.